Welcome to TMC virtual class. Student, I will take today Science and Technology Part 1 chapter Metallurgy. Student, this chapter is very important in exam point of view. Let's start. In this chapter, student, we will start with very important concept that metallurgy. Now in this chapter we will discuss physical properties of metals, then physical properties of non-metals, chemical properties of metals, then reactivity series of metals and chemical properties of non-metals, and very important part ionic compounds, and last metallurgy various concept. So in this part we have to start with student. There is a formation of earth take place about 4.5 billion years ago, and in various steps take place in core of the earth, and there are different ores present in different form like solid, liquid and gaseous form. So basically elements are classified on the basis of physical and chemical properties in three parts, that is metals, non-metals and metalloid. Student, metals, non-metals and metalloid, you can see some examples in slide also like copper, iron and sodium. These three elements are metals, and second non-metals like phosphorus, carbon and sulfur, that is non-metals. And metalloids, you know that what is metalloids, which contain the properties of metal as well as the non-metal, so like germanium, silicon and antimony. So basically elements are classified into three types: metals, non-metals and metalloid. And we know that total 118 element till now discovered. So some elements are metals, some are non-metals and some are metalloid. So maximum content is, that is metals, like more than 95 elements are metals. Student, next part we can see metals basically present in solid state like aluminum, copper, iron, silver, zinc, sodium, potassium and platinum. All these are metals are basically in solid state, but always some exception case you have to remember. Some metals are also present in liquid state like mercury and gallium. So this part is very important. In exam they will ask, give some examples of metal they are present in liquid state. So you have to write two names. The first one is mercury, second one is gallium. So mercury you can see in thermometer also, and gallium, that is very important part, and it is basically present in liquid state at room temperature. Next you can see, next part, metals contain the shine surface. They always reflect the light, that's why this property is called luster. So that is very important. You can see at your home also like copper articles, silver and aluminum, gold, all zinc, all these metal having the shine surface, and this properties of metal is called luster. So that is very important. So some examples are already given in slide also. Student, but remember that after some time metals, whatever they having the shine part, after some time the shine part become less because of metals always reactive, and always reactive with gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide. So whenever they react with carbon dioxide or oxygen or some moisture present in atmosphere, so reactive gases in their air and lose their sign because they form the oxide, metallic oxide. So like you can see like copper, aluminum, zinc, gold is very less reactive, but silver also color change like a black. So this type of property you can see in metals. Next, and that is very important, metals having two important properties. One is known malleability and second one is known ductility. So what is malleability? Metals are always malleable. So what is malleable? Whenever you apply the some force on metals, so whenever you apply the force on metals, like you can take like iron. So whenever you apply the force on iron, so we can convert into thin sheet like aluminum sheet, iron sheet, because of the we are applying the pressure. So whenever metals converted into thin sheet by applying the pressure, this property is known as malleability, and the metals are malleable. Some you can see also in figure also, iron are converted into thin sheet. Second, like a gold you can see, and like copper, aluminum wire, so we can convert into thin wire. Metals also convert into thin wire, and this property is known as ductility, and metals are ductile. So that's why it is given in slide also, metals are malleable and ductile. So some examples are given like aluminum, copper, silver, zinc, sodium and potassium. This one is very important part. metals having the properties of metals are always good conductor of heat and electricity. So why they are good conductor of heat and electricity? Because they contain free electrons. So whenever the motion of electron take place, at that time they are able to conduct heat as well as electricity. So you can see also in aluminum vessels in which part they can absorb the heat. So that's why metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. And you can see some examples like at your home also. We have the different types of wire, and all these wire is made up of basically like copper wire, aluminum wire, because they can conduct electricity. So one important concept you have to remember, an interesting fact, that anything which are good conductor of heat also good conductor of electricity. So aluminum, copper, silver, zinc, sodium and potassium are good conductor of heat and electricity. Second, next part is very important. We know that all metals are very hard, but some exception case you have to remember, that like alkali metal. So what is alkali metal, student? Remember that first group element. So first group element like sodium, potassium, all these are having alkali metals. Why alkali metal? Because their oxides are soluble in water, so we can cut with knife, so it is soft. So aluminum, copper, silver, these are the hard, but you can take some example like potassium and sodium. These are the soft thing and we can cut with knife. So some exception case you have to remember also, that all alkali metals basically are soft, can be cut with knife. And this one is very important. You can see also all having very low melting and boiling point, but one example you have to remember, that like tungsten wire, which present in bulb also, having the very high melting and boiling point. Melting point of this tungsten wire is approximately 3422 degrees Celsius. This one is very high. So tungsten wire having the very high melting and boiling point. Some example you can see like sodium, potassium, gallium, mercury having very low melting as well as the boiling point. Melting point of sodium is 98 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 883 degrees Celsius. This one is very low. Same you can apply potassium also, mercury and gallium. So all four elements having low melting and boiling point, but exception case, but maximum metals having high melting and boiling point, low melting and boiling point like sodium, potassium, mercury and gallium having very low melting and boiling point. So like melting point of gallium is approximately 29.77 degrees Celsius, like a room temperature. So whenever you take any gallium in your hand at room temperature, it will melt. So like gallium. Next part of this lesson is, yes, very important part, whenever you struck any metals, they produce the sound. So they produce a ringing sound when they are struck, and this property is known as the sonorous and sonority. So metals having the properties of sonority because they produce the sound, like aluminum, copper, silver, all the you can see your home utensils, whenever you fall down, so they produce the sound. Because they produce a sound, this property is known as sonorous and sonority. So you can see in figure also like copper, silver, aluminum, they produce the sound, and this property is known as sonority. So this is part for metals. Next part is for non-metals. Again we have to go with the physical properties only. Physical means outer appearance. So all non-metals, basically non-metals are very less, only 17 out of 118, in which maximum thing is they are present in solid state and gaseous state. Like metals present in solid and gaseous, but some examples like mercury, gallium are present in liquid state. Now you can see in non-metals also, they are present basically maximum is solid state and some are in gaseous state, but some exception case like solid state first see, like carbon, sulfur, diamond and iodine, all these are non-metals are present in solid state. And in gaseous state, student, like hydrogen, oxygen, chlorine and nitrogen present in gaseous state. But one exception, that is bromine. So bromine is non-metal. Why it is non-metal? Because again you have to go to chapter number 2, periodic classification of element. Bromine is a halogen. Halogen present in group number 17. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. So remember that bromine. So bromine present in liquid state, and it is a non-metal because the halogen family. So one exception case you have to remember, all non-metals are present in solid state and gaseous state. One exception case, that is bromine, which is very important, and this type of question will come here in exam, that which non-metals are present in liquid state. So answer is bromine. So you can see also example is bromine. Next, very important, all metals, non-metals are basically hard and they are soft, but diamond, so diamond is hardest substance on this earth and it is a non-metals. Like carbon, sulfur and iodine are soft, but diamond is the hardest substance on this earth and which is non-metals, and diamond we know that allotrope of carbon. So one important concept you have to remember from 9th standard, what is allotrope? So student, what is allotrope? They having the made up of the same, only the same element like carbon, but in different form. So they having the same chemical property but different physical properties, like carbon having the 3 allotrope, 1 is diamond, graphite and fluorine. So diamond is one example of allotrope of carbon, and it is the hardest substance on this earth and it is non-metal. And this one is also very important, student, like metals are good conductor of heat and electricity, but non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity. Means in this part they do not contain any free electrons. So that's why motion of electron are not possible in non-metals. They are bad conductor of electricity as well as the heat. And one important concept you have to remember, I told you earlier also, anything which are good conductor of heat as well as the good conductor of electricity. So in this part you can see non-metals are bad conductor of heat as well as electricity. But again, one exception case you have to remember, that only graphite, that is a non-metal, allotrope of carbon, but it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So you can see in also in a slide also, like graphite, that is allotrope of carbon, graphite can conduct electricity, and sulfur, diamond, carbon, all these are the non-metal and that is bad conductor of heat and electricity. So last we can revise that one important fact you have to remember, that substances which are good conductor of heat are also good conductor of electricity. Just we discussed that anything which are good conductor of electricity also good conductor of heat. Next part, aluminium. The best example you can see at your home, the electricity wire is made up of only aluminium. Also some part is copper. So that is good conductor of heat as well as the electricity. And some other example like sulfur is a bad conductor of heat as well as the bad conductor of electricity. Student, and at one exception case you have to remember, that only a diamond, that is allotrope, though being a bad conductor of electricity, means in this part electricity cannot take place because of motion of electron is not possible in diamond. It is 3D dimensional, no lose of electron, means they cannot lose the electron. But you can see the slide part, though being a bad conductor of electricity, diamond can conduct heat. So one exception case you have to remember, all non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity except diamond. Diamond being a bad conductor of electricity, but they can conduct heat. So one part we already completed. One is physical properties of metals and second physical properties of non-metals. So this type, in this part they will ask like fill in the blanks, correlation, true and false, match the following, define. So this is one is very important concept. Next part we have to discuss that in this chapter, chemical properties of metals as well as non-metals. So let's start the first part, chemical properties. Chemical properties of metals. So student, in this part we will start with first, what is chemical properties. So first you have to understand that in your body, first whenever we see from outside, like your height, your color, your appearance, all these are the physical properties, and whatever the reaction take place inside your body, like digestion process, respiration, different. So that is a chemical property. So same way you can apply in chemistry also. Any element when react with some other compound or elements, that is known as a chemical property. So in this part we have to discuss that. First one, what happen when metals react with oxygen. So first one is reaction with oxygen. So what happen when metals react with oxygen. Next part we have to discuss that in this chapter. What happen when metals react with water. And third, reaction with acid. So this one is very important, student. In this part they will ask like scientific reason, then you have to apply some chemical equation. Also they will ask what happen when magnesium metal react with oxygen. So this one is very important for exam point of view. Let's start with the first part. What happen when metals react with oxygen? Student, we know that what is metal. So anything which can donate electron is called metal. So you can see in slide also it is given that metals always lose the electron. One simple example is given for sodium. So why sodium? So simple example, you already know that sodium atomic number is 11. Yes, correct. Atomic number is 11. So first cell contain 2 electron, second cell 8 electron, and third one is 1 electron. So that is electronic configuration of sodium. So any element want to complete their octet. So that time sodium will donate 1 electron to, like one example you can take chlorine, atomic number is 17. Do electronic configuration 2, 8 and 7. 2 plus 8 10, 10 plus 7 is 17. So any element want to complete their octet. So that time sodium will donate 1 electron to chlorine. So it's become electropositive. Anything which donate electron is called, that is they contain the ions, that is positive ions. So because they donate electrons, so sodium plus, and that's why you can see in slide also it is written that whenever any element donate electron or lose electrons, it's become electropositive. Why electropositive? Because they donate 1 electron. So 1 electron means sodium is 1 charge, that is known as cation. Similarly you can see chlorine require 1 electron, so become Cl minus 288. This one is known as electronegative. So metals always donate electrons, always lose electrons. So first part we have to discuss that what happen when any metals react with oxygen. So first, so exam they will ask what happen when sodium metals combine with oxygen or air even at room temperature. And we know that student, sodium and potassium, first we have to start with alkali metals. Potassium, the highest maximum reactive elements, that is potassium. Next one is sodium. So whenever they react with oxygen or open atmosphere, that time they form the oxide, and you can just see the reaction. Sodium, that is Na plus O2. Sodium is a metal and this one is oxygen. So we already know that sodium having the valency is 1 and oxygen atomic number is 6, 8, 2 and 6. So oxygen required 2 electron, their valency is 2. Sodium will donate 1 electron. And oxygen, how many oxygen here student? Oxygen is diatomic. So 1 oxygen required 2 electrons. So 2 oxygen will require 4 electrons and sodium will donate only 1 electron. So we have to take here 4 and we can balance the reaction by taking Na2O. So we have to multiply by 2. 2 2 is 4 and 2 oxygen. That is known as sodium oxide. Sodium oxide. So always remember that whenever metal like sodium react with oxygen, they form sodium oxide. So we can write that whenever metal react with oxygen, they form the metallic oxide. And one important, we have to remember that one important part, on exposure to air, always they release a tremendous amount of heat and it always catches the fire. So it is very difficult to, we have to keep like sodium and potassium on the open condition because it always catches the fire. So that time we have to keep in kerosene oil because we have to cut all the air and water to the sodium, because that's why it is they will ask why sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene oil, because on the open atmosphere when they react with oxygen they will form the sodium oxide and that time they release the tremendous amount of heat and it always catches the fire. So that's why we have to keep in kerosene oil. So you can see like copper wire, magnesium ribbon, aluminum wire. So reaction of metal like aluminum, you can practice for aluminum also, Al plus O2 and aluminum having the valency is 3, so they form the aluminum oxide. Copper plus oxygen, copper oxide. So all the metals when react with oxygen they form the metallic oxide. But remember that one important thing, very important, again I am repeating, that sodium and potassium react with oxygen at even room temperature. Why? Because we know that sodium and potassium are highly reactive elements, so they can react at room temperature also. So that's why we have to keep in kerosene. So you can see also in slide all, sodium is storing kerosene to prevent its reaction with oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide in air. And they will ask this type of question in exam for scientific reason. Next part you can see, that is very important, some metallic oxides are soluble in water. So that's why they are called alkali sodium hydroxide. So many students having a doubt what is alkali. So any metallic oxide are soluble in water, that time it is called alkaline. Like sodium oxide are soluble in water like sodium hydroxide, that's why it is called alkali. Like potassium oxide soluble in water like potassium hydroxide, that's why it is called alkali. So let's start with one reaction. What happens when sodium oxide react with water? Reaction of water. So Na2O, sodium oxide react with water, H2O. So they form the hydroxide. So we can balance how many Na? 2 Na, and you can see O and O. How many O? 2O and 2H. So that is OH. So 2NOH. So product is 2NaOH and it is soluble in water. So that's why it is called aqueous solution. Anything which is dissolved in water is called aqueous and it is soluble in water. So that's why it is called alkali. Any metallic oxide are soluble in water to form the alkali. So one example is sodium hydroxide. Second example is potassium hydroxide, that is KOH. Next example you can see like magnesium ribbon. So in exam they will ask what happen when magnesium ribbon burn in air. So you have to balance the reaction. So you can see magnesium wire burns vigorously in air to form magnesium oxide. So we can balance. If you want to take a screenshot you can take, then we can proceed the next part. Yes. So next element, next metal is magnesium. Again we have to balance for magnesium. Mg plus O2. Magnesium present in solid form. So magnesium plus O2. So student, magnesium having atomic number is, again if you want to complete any chemical equation, student, you have to remember the atomic number, and by the atomic number you can determine their valency, and that time you can balance the any chemical reaction, chemical equation. So that is very important. So magnesium, student, atomic number is 12, yes, correct. So we can do electronic configuration 282. So magnesium will donate 2 electron to complete their octet. So there, and this one is electropositive. So 2 electron, and student, oxygen, already we know that oxygen atomic number is 8. So 2 6. So they require 2 electron. But how many oxygen? 2 oxygen. So 1 oxygen require 2 electron. So 2 oxygen will require 4 electrons. Simple. 1 pen having the price 5 rupees. So 2 pen having the price 2 into 5 10. Same way. So simple mathematics. So one electron, oxygen require 2 electrons. So 2 oxygen will require 4 electrons. So we have to take here 2. So 2 to the 4, and now we can balance. We form the metallic oxide, that is magnesium oxide, 2MgO. That is MgO, magnesium oxide, and it is also in white color they form. So this is very important. They will ask, and we provide the next part of this lesson is, and you can see magnesium oxide react with water to form the alkali magnesium hydroxide. So what is magnesium hydroxide? So whenever it reacts with water, so they form MgOH twice. The same thing, like NaOH, KOH, so MgOH twice, and it is given in figure also. Next part of this lesson is given reaction of metals with water. Reaction of metals with, first one is oxygen, second one is water. Yes, correct, water. So you can see like calcium, aluminum, iron and zinc, and it is given. So student, calcium, iron, zinc and aluminum, you can do one activity also, very simple. We have to take test tube and cold water, and we have to keep in this part calcium, iron, zinc and aluminum. So what happen, whenever we first see the calcium part, so whenever calcium react with water less vigorously, less reactive, because calcium is less reactive, they produce the ion, they release the hydrogen gas, but very less quantity, and that hydrogen gas stick on the surface of the calcium. That's why they form the bubbles, and they will stick on the surface of the, like in this part you can see, suppose this one is calcium, they produce the ions, air, that is hydrogen gas, and that is very less, and they will stick on the surface of calcium, and that is air, so they will always float on the water. So they will ask why calcium float on water, because calcium is less reactive, they will react with water, but they produce less amount of air, that is hydrogen gas, and that hydrogen gas bubbles surface, they will stick on the surface of calcium, and that's why calcium will float on the water. But iron and zinc having the no reaction, because iron, zinc and aluminum are less reactive, and whenever they react with cold water, there is no reaction take place. So let's see the next part. So you can see in this part also, the heat evolved in this reaction is not sufficient for the hydrogen gas to catch fire. They release hydrogen gas, but less quantity. If you see that sodium and potassium, they release hydrogen gas in tremendous amount, and that time they catch, it is possible to catch fire. But in this part, they release hydrogen gas in calcium case also, but in less quantity, and that time they will float on the water. But what happened in iron and zinc and aluminum, there is no reaction take place, because these three elements, these three metals are less reactive. So you can see this part, Fe plus H2O, no reaction, means whenever iron plus water in cold water, there is no reaction. Similarly, zinc plus water, no reaction. Aluminum plus water, no reaction. So first case, what is the first case? When these four metals like calcium, zinc, iron and aluminum react with cold water, only calcium can react with cold water, and that time they release a very less amount of hydrogen gas, and that hydrogen gas bubbles stick on the surface of calcium, and that time calcium will float on the water. So they will ask one scientific reason why calcium float on the water. So you have to write this reason. Next part of this lesson is like kerosene and water. So very important part, and they will ask again one scientific reason why kerosene, and second one is water. So we have to take two cases, one is kerosene and second is water. So whenever sodium will keep in kerosene, that time they will cut with air and as well as the water to the atmosphere. So that time इसके बीच में ना तो air आ रहा है like oxygen, and second water भी नहीं आ रहा है. So that time in sodium, in kerosene oil, that time there no reaction take place, so no catch fire. But in second case in water, that time they will react with oxygen in the atmosphere as well as the water, and that time they release the hydrogen gas and in tremendous amount of heat energy, that time catch fire. So that's why we have to keep sodium in kerosene oil. And again student, very important part, again third chapter, you know that exothermic, endothermic. Exo means out, thermic means heat. So in this reaction, tremendous amount of heat is evolved, tremendous amount of heat is liberated. So that time it is called exothermic reaction because heat is released. Like in your home also, we are having the exhaust fan. So what is the rule, function of exhaust fan? They remove the heat from inside to outside. So that is called exo. Exo means out, thermic means heat. So in this part, a lot of heat is produced, and that time it is called exothermic reaction. Exo means out, thermic means heat. Similarly, endothermic. Endo means inside, thermic means heat. And this part already you completed in third lesson. But you can apply in this chapter also, these two concepts. Next part is given that student, does these metals react with steam? So in cold water, no reaction. Iron, aluminum and zinc do not react with cold or hot water. So the first case not in cold water, second also in hot water, there is no reaction of iron, zinc and aluminum. So next question you can think that what happened when these three metals like iron, zinc and aluminum can react in steam? So you have to think, and now let's see the answer. Yes, it is possible. So all three elements can react with steam. Just see the one activity that you can take anything like aluminum or zinc, and when you provide the heat in steam, so that time, and second that release the hydrogen gas, and you can take in glass jar also, and we can say that all three elements can react with steam. So you can see in part also they form the aluminum oxide, zinc oxide. So we can say that all three elements like aluminum, zinc and iron can react with steam. But what about last three very less reactive elements like copper, gold and silver? So copper, gold and silver, these three elements do not react with anything like cold water or hot water or steam. So copper, gold and silver are very less reactive elements, very less. So there is no reaction take place in cold water as well as the hot water or as a steam. You can see also in this part. So again one time we can take revision. So calcium can react with cold water, iron can react with cold water no. So iron, zinc and aluminum cannot react with cold water. You can see the same thing only place. Next, what are really metals equally reactive? So, no. You can see in some examples also, some metals are reactive with cold water, some in hot water, some are in steam, and some examples like gold, copper and silver do not react within cold water, hot water or even steam. So we can say that all metals are not same reactive, means metals. Next part is metals react with acid. So student, in next class we will see the next part of this lesson, what happens when metals react with acid. So thank you so much. You can revise this part.